Horsehair normally is sold by the pound. So what I've done is I have measured out a pound of horsehair, and that's what we're going to start with, but I'm pretty confident that that should be sufficient for this size seat. What you want to do with your hair is you want to spread it evenly over your seating surface. And once you have one layer on here like this, and we'll just take some more horsehair and we'll keep building this up until we have our full pound evenly distributed throughout the seating surface. Here we have 1 full pound of horsehair all spread out and evenly distributed throughout the seating surface. So the next step will be to quilt this down. For quilting down the horsehair, we will be using a ruby twine. Now this is a thin, much thinner twine than what we used on our springs. This is going to make it through the eye of the needle. We don't need anything quite as heavy as what we had on the springs. And you can also purchase curved needle kits. This is a K3 curved needle kit, and in this case we will be using the largest needle. I started by cutting off a length of twine that I felt would be adequate for quilting this down. If you come up short, you can just tie on more with a square knot. I start by threading the eye of the needle and just bringing through about a foot or so, and on the opposite end of the string we want to tie a knot. And we start just by letting the curved needle penetrate the top of your burlap, go around underneath, and come up 2 or 3 inches on the other side. And we can just pull that through. Until we feel the knot give us some resistance. Then what we do is just take where that knot is and do that stitch again. Now it's not important that you come up in the exact same spot or start in the exact spot, but just thereabouts is good. We want to pull that through again. And then we can tug that down tight, and that'll tie off the beginning. Then we can just take our curved needle, go right about where we went in the first time, and head in the other direction across the front of the chair. Pull that snug, and then just do the same thing again. And we're just going to continue this way all the way to the other side of the chair rail. When we get to the other side, we're just going to want to we're going to turn our curved needle and we're going to head to the back, and we're going to continue to go through in rows. Okay, we have quilted all the way to the back corner of this chair seat, and all it is left to do is tie off our twine. So I'm going to do one more stitch, and I'm going to head towards the front of the chair. Pull that last stitch snug, and we'll do another one. This is very similar to where we tied off in the front, except I have a little bit of a loop. I'm just going to tie on there. Just go around a couple of times, make a knot, and pull that tight. Now once you've done this step, you can go back and you can tuck in any pieces you see like this here sticking out a little. We can just kind of tuck that in under. We want our front and our sides to be fairly straight. Now we're ready for our first layer of cotton. The first layer of cotton we just put on here. Just want to bring it right to about to the inside of the edge Cotton tear is pretty easy, so we just want to cut it a little oversized, and you can just kind of take and tear off a little bit to go around the arm frames. Just tear it off across the back. For the second layer, we want to leave it a little bit longer in the front. Same as last time, just tear out around the arms. Again across the back. All you want to do, just take your cotton and just fold it right underneath the horsehair. You can take your staple gun and staple this down in there. About every inch works pretty good. Then we can take and just kind of feather this first layer back a little bit here along the sides. You want it to be pretty flush, the sides of the chair. There's no need to fold it under or tack it along the sides. It's always a good idea to find your center point just by aligning your two edges, folding it in half, and just make a little dart with your scissors. And you can measure and mark the center of your chair if you'd like to. I don't usually bother with it, I just need it close enough so I don't end up short on one side when I'm pulling it tight. What I like to do, just get it over here smooth and fold my outside edges in. And once you get your sides folded, you need to cut around your arms, so we can just cut in here. We need to cut around the back legs. I like to fold it on an angle when doing this, and then coming in to the inside corner of the back leg. Once again, up here in the front, we also have to cut around the front of the arms. I like to come in at an angle from the back up towards the front corner. This can be pulled out, and this can just be tucked down underneath, like so. And once we have our cover all cut and ready to be installed, we can start tacking this down. Always good to start right in the center in the front. You want to be careful not to try to pull too tight, or you'll end up finding out that your first staple is a little too tight. If that happens, you can always go back and pull staples and readjust it. It's a good idea to work from front to back, or back to front, whichever you're most comfortable with. Now on the second staple, in this case to the back of the chair, we can pull this fairly snug, and we can use our hand to smooth this out and help push this down. And once we have it attached forward to back, side to side, we can come to the corners and pull on an angle. We want to pull so that we're pulling both the front and the side out. You may have to tuck some of your edge roll in. Make sure that no cotton is getting on top of the edge roll that may cause any lumps. You want to pull that fairly snug. We'll put a tack in each. Then of course we'll move to the back corners. You might find as you're moving this around that you have to go back and snip a little extra fabric. Once we have all our corners done, we can just come back to in between our staples and try to get everything as smooth and level and lump free as we can. Smoothing out the muslin works well if you used this whole part of your hand. It's not going to work so good if you go with your fingertips. But if you just use, especially this front edge of your hand, along your thumb and the first finger, you can smooth that right out nice. I like to come down over the edge of my thumb and just kind of hold it, pull it smooth, and back it. Well, there we are. Starting to look nice.